been adjusted there. Is that about right? There we go. Reduce the exposure, because my goodness, that is bright. And that seems to be about right on the camera. There we go. Alright, how is everyone doing today? And I'm just gonna go and put in my post to share and let people know. Oh my goodness, Gannon. Oh my goodness. Are you gonna join in today, Gannon? I've got a new... here we go. I'll put it up here. I've got a new camera set up, so now if people ever want to see Gannon, I just have to swivel this. It's fantastic. Hey, buddy? Yeah? Are you being a cutie? Yeah, he's just being a little sweetheart. Aw. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, so we've got that. Oh my goodness, you are so cute. Are you going to be chatty on stream today? Alright. And... cool. So, and in case we finish a bit early, these are two figures I have that also need to be finished. So, can if I end up finishing sooner than anticipated, I can wrap that up. So that's good. It's always good to have a backup. Ooh, that wet pallet's got some fog. Just the smell. There's no actual bacteria on it. It's clean. All right. So got that. Got that. Perfect. 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 Everything is good. Just running a little bit behind, so my apologies. So, all right. Now I want to possibly redo the hands on him, but since I've done all the fur, I think what I'm going to do is to really finalize that. I'm just going to put on a matte finish. Hey Keith, there you are. How you doing, bud? So as I was telling you, I got that new arm, so I can actually just rotate the camera whenever anyone wants to say hi to Gannon. So precious. And you get to visit him digitally so that you don't have to deal with allergies, which is cool. I would like to not have to deal with allergies. Hey Gannon, is that right? Yeah. Stupid dust. Cool. So I'm just going to apply a matte finish over the fur so that I can continue to handle and paint that without having to worry about smudging any of my paint or anything like that. Yeah. Hey, what's up, little bud? Yeah. Do I need to move this stuff around a little bit? I can't tell. It's always a new setup, it feels like. Let's see here. Let's pull these in. Get my mic off that, because that's really heavy. Maybe I can end up sliding this forward that way. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. But yeah, no, this helps me because it frees up a lot of my desk space. So, got this. Gonna actually move this down here. Got that. Wet my brush. So how you doing today, Keith? Things going well? Sure that I'm giving proper credits to the musicians. No, just because it's minimized. That's fine. Not too bad. Just got home from your doctor's appointment. Yeah, there you go. Hope that went well. Father-in-law's apparently getting a checkup right now. Let's see, why can I not? Alright, well, if it doesn't want to be cooperative, that's fine, whatever. So, if anyone has any questions about who does the music, I can just let them know. Or what I'm listening to. Speaking of the music, how's the audio? You can hear it all right? I've been keeping things at a relatively the same rates as usual, but just want to make sure. Yep, good. Perfect. So you playing games today? Gonna play the new Pokemon DLC. Oh, good stuff. That's good. Hey, and you'll be able to reply at a decent speed, too. The new Zapdos looks like a Chocobo, though. Yeah, kinda. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think he kind of looks like a red emu, but you know, Chocobos are kind of just yellow emus. Yes, sir. Good stuff. Nope. Yeah, one thing I need to be mindful of is the camera is super close to the brushes, as you can see. But I still really like this setup because it almost projects a feeling like you yourself are painting. Let's see here if I zoom out even more. There we go. farther away. Need to get myself a better lighting setup. I'm very restricted by whatever the sun decides. Look at that body. Oh, that booty. I misheard that as body. Yeah. Yeah, and then we got barnacle butt over here too. I did a little bit of an impromptu streaming at 1 in the morning because, well, I wasn't quite ready to go to sleep looking at the election polls. So, a little stressed, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to paint. I need a distraction. I need something that makes me chill. Things aren't looking good, you know? Because Trump wants to be a dictator. Biden won Wisconsin, and which was previously looking red from the live polls. So obviously, what does Trump do? He demands a recount, and after they do a recount, which is going to take like a week to do. If Biden is still winning Wisconsin and still ends up winning the election, Trump's going to take it to the Supreme Court to try and, you know, stay the president anyways, which is... Things are not great right now. Things are not great in the world. Gotta be hopeful. Gotta hope that someone that is on the Supreme Court and is a little right-winged has more of a conscience than that. So, yeah. Yeah, oh no, it's absolutely a violation of everything that is considered democracy, right? So, you know, it's we'll see what direction the states and the rest of the world decide to go. Would be real swell if United Nations decided to do some boycotts on the states to show disapproval, but they're not going to do that. States is a superpower in the world, so yeah, who's messaging me? No, dude, sleep. If that's it. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I have no doubt that if things keep going in this direction, the states will not be a superpower anymore. Oh my God, you light! Why must you fight me? Alright, so this is a little zoomed out, too zoomed out for my liking. No, that was the focus. That's not what I want. I want that. There we go. Increase the exposure a little bit. That'll help with the lighting. Maybe a little bit of brightness too. There we go. That's decent. No, you. Hey Jules, how you doing? All right. And actually, I took a nap before I went online to stream today, so let's see. All right, let's look at some reference photos of gorillas. I want to take a look at some gorilla hands. So I will do this, go gorilla hand. Let's see here. So I'll do a window capture, and we're going to go at Google Chrome, looking at a gorilla hand. There we go. So you guys can see what I see, and I kind of like this one. Yeah, their hands are very callousy, which obviously makes sense. So it looks like where callus builds up, the skin, because of the callus and the layers, make it more brown pigmented than black, which matches up similarly with a what I had seen on some of my references, which seem to be gone. I don't realize that you're using IRL. Yeah, no, I'm totally using IRL gorilla references. So what I've been doing, I'll see if I can find the initial gorilla photos I was using. It's kind of lost a lot of stuff. Is it just on the desktop? Yeah, it's just on the desktop here. So go here, remove the PSD one. So open all those up. What I was actually previously using, and this should be fun. Where is it? Heck. Show windows with empty names. So I'm just trying to go to preview. Yeah, here we go. So the mouth that I was using, I was actually trying to, with the colors I have available, to use the same references. And in terms of the fur, I was doing the best of my ability to follow with what was going on in these. So I was using eyedropper tool, but it looks like I need to take a look here. After applying my matte, I may have lost some of the highlights, so I might actually have to afterwards go over and re-highlight some stuff, but you know, that's okay. Let's see here. No, I think it might just be the lighting in front of my desk. No, I definitely lost some highlight, but that's okay. That's easy enough to finish. The matte varnish is basically just to make sure that the oil in my fingers doesn't smudge paint off. I can always go over top of it, which is perfectly fine. But yeah, no, totally. You want things to look good, use references. But yeah, so in terms of what I was talking about there with the hands looking brown, that's what I was seeing there. So let's see here. With that newfound information, looking at that, the darkest colors are obviously black, but it looks like the next darkest colors seems to be close to something I've been using a lot lately, which is dark stone. And it kind of goes like to a tan color, like a dark tan. Kind of like, try not to move that too much. Kind of almost like this. So yeah, again, a little hard to see with the colors, but yeah, kind of like that. So it looks like it's going to be jumping in between those. And the highlights are quite bright, as we usually see in darker colors. What do I want to use here? Because there's still a little bit of that You know what? What we'll do is we'll open up Photoshop here. So I have a PSD for this file already. So I'm gonna go to that window capture. Now, I guess I'll wait for Photoshop to finish loading. So I just need to use the eyedropper tool. That's all I'm using this for. What I will do though is I will resize this. That's all we're gonna really be looking at here. So in this, I'm gonna go Photoshop as we just continue to eat and chew through the CPU of my computer. You know, that's fine. Oh, come on, where is it? Is Photoshop not capturable? Why is Photoshop not on the list? Webcam, system preferences. Well, you might just have to trust me that I am using Photoshop and I have Photoshop open. Oh, is it Creative Cloud? No, that's not it. Well, heck. That's just a drag. Alright, well that's fine. What I will do is I will do that as quickly as I can here. So I'll go back to my preview with my little gorilla friend. And you can get an idea of what I'm doing. So I'm going to open up a new layer here. Gonna hide that. I'm gonna take the eyedropper tool, we're gonna take the brush tool, and we're gonna go in. I'm gonna find what the darkest color here is. I'd say that's probably the darkest spot right there. Yep, so dark stone looks like that would be the closest I've got there. And that looks like a nice mid-tone there. Okay. And then, so what I'm seeing here is actually really cool. So they technically have two different areas that I need to handle on this here. They have the color range of where their calluses are, and then they've got the color set of where their non-callus skin is, so like the inside of their hands. This is so cool. The reason I'm so fascinated by this is just given that, like, depending on where it's found on their skin, they can have drastic different color ranges. So I'm very impressed. All right, neat. So I'll save that as a what you call those whatchamacoozits. There we go. Save that as a JPEG on my desktop. I can make that a JPEG. Apparently I can't capture it otherwise, and we're gonna go Gorilla Colors hand. And yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna get the heck out of Photoshop. I'm curious what software you use to record, though. I am using Streamlabs. It's right off on Twitch's website. They give it access to it, specifically Streamlabs OBS. Ooh, so neat trivia about Pokemon Omnite and Sword and Shield have become an invasive species since their revival and are now considered pests. Weird. That is interesting. Try not to give out too many spoilers, though, if you can. But that's cool. So I am interested in giving this a shot now. Now that I found out that you can access the what you call it. It's a Pokedex entry. That's still a spoiler, Keith. Found little tidbits, but you know, it's brand new. Should probably try to let people find that on their own when they're playing it. All right, so go here. And it does not want me to show anything. This is such a pain in the butt right now. There you go, that. You know, we'll just remove this window capture entirely. Let's see here. No, that's a new one. Add source. There we go. Cool. So, obviously they gotta shrink this down. And so, let's see. Come on, you can do it. Hey, how's it going there, Chester? Yeah. No, I was just grabbing my palette here. So, because I've been using some references, and as it turns out, how I've painted these hands is not really how Gorilla's hands turns out. The backs of their hands get covered in calluses and end up being a very different color palette. So I'm gonna fix that up, and also, hey, thanks for the follow there. Much appreciated. Alright, so we are going to start off using this on the backs of the hands. So we're just going to redo this all together. So anywhere that is on the outside of their hands, it's going to get this treatment. I appreciate the accurate gorilla facts. Yeah, I know. I mean, there's no better, reference than the real world, right? But yeah, so it seems what happens is the callus buildup on the back of their hands, due to the extra layers of pigment, changes the coloration from a blackish blue to a very, very dark brown. And so if I go in here, let's see here, if I should find a better way to do this here. So right now, we're gonna go like that. No, how do I want to do this? How do I want to do this? Here we go. So that's that. So if I scroll up here and I go into the hand, so you can see the insides here. They're very calloused, but they're more of a brown color. But the inside of their hand is more of like almost a charcoal gray. Am I gonna dry brush this, man? I'm not certain. I'm very curious on what I'm going to be doing here. I'm probably just going to be doing glazing, and just going with very many layers of thin paint. But I've got a new camera setup, same camera, but I've got a armature here. So whenever I want, I can do this, and I can show off my little kitty here. Yeah, he's sleeping. So, if I ever make it to affiliate, I'm gonna be sure, because he's here consistently all the time, that people can redeem bits for kitty cam. Oh, nice. That's a much better angle. Yeah, exactly, right? Because now it almost feels like your, viewers are getting to, the actual painting process. You can even convince yourself that it feels like you're the one painting it. But for people who are actually wanting to figure out how I do my process, this works out really well, right? Because you get that first-person perspective. Oh, yeah. Now, kitty cam. Yeah, yay, Lemons. How's it going? Yeah, no, we are going to finish this up. I wasn't quite happy with how the... sorry, just need to do a little bit of a reach over here. I wasn't quite happy with how the colors on the hands were. It didn't quite look right. And when I was looking at my reference pictures, I found that their hands are much more they're much more brown, and it looks like the calluses are the reason for that. So I'm just redoing the hands from scratch here, so it shouldn't take too long. More kitty cam, yes. While I'm figuring out my palette, you can watch Sleeping Ganon. So this is a P3 paint of some sort. I don't remember which one, but there we go. But how are you doing today, Lemons? How are the kids? They being well behaved, sleeping, napping? You get some away time to do what you please now? I bought a few minis yesterday. Gonna paint the Wizkids Griffin. The Wizkids Griffin's not too bad. I love the kitty cam. Yeah, I love the kitty cam too. No, the Wizkids Griffin's not bad. My a person that I really like to watch on YouTube, his name is Leif. He has a channel called Devs and Dice, and he did a tutorial. So apparently his very first mini that he painted was the Wizkids Griffin, and comparing the knowledge that he had from back then to now, he tried it, and it was a cool video to watch somebody measure their own growth, right? And using his video, I ended up taking the information that I learned from him to do a similar scheme. If you want to take a look, I can bring it over. It's the same Griffin that's on my Instagram. My daughter is good. Extra hyper today. Oh no, so you don't have the freedom. Okay, so you're watching like a hawk. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. But yeah, no, oh, not supposed to do the top there. What was I gonna say? No, if I forgot, it can't be that important. Alright, so using the same logic for the hands, I'm going to use a similar approach with the feet. They actually use their feet that way, so probably top layers like that. Taken some meds to try and deal with my allergies today, so hopefully it's not going to be too much sniffling. I can breathe? That's good. Did a lot of cleaning today, so a bit more dust than usual. But nice thing, I've got the day off today, so I can actually paint for a little bit longer than usual today. We'll see based off of what my constitution is. I've been watching lots of people paint minis and getting ideas. That's been my day. I decided I really like how you tell us what you're thinking and why you're doing it the way you are. Yeah, no, I mean, like, by no means am I an expert in any way, but I think that the way that I approach something might be different than how someone else might normally, right? And just kind of sharing that thought process can be hugely beneficial. Either A, if I end up doing something wrong and it doesn't look good, others and myself get a track record of how and why that happened, right? Like that you have continued projects. Yeah, no, the minis that I start on stream, I don't want to finish off stream. You know, so I think that if someone really liked how the project was going, if I end up finishing it offhand, then, you know, they might be a little bummed out. So I can get that, right? Just like if a person's doing a live stream of a video game, typically you want to see the whole way through if you started the journey. But yeah, no, I think that being able to narrate that thought process, if not even for others, is beneficial for myself. And I mean, like, I remember when I first started painting minis, like, at least one or two of my friends that watch, they don't paint minis at all, right? So I know that they would benefit from some of this information that they don't normally have. How did that happen there? Okay, so I don't want to really go over all the dry brushing again, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a contrast paint here. And so this is just a gray, and I'm just going to use it to... it's stuck. I'm just going to use it to fill in the white spot there. Just given that everything else is gray, it's such a small amount, I'm just going to dip it directly onto this. This is something that I've kind of been doing recently. Just if I'm using such a small daub, like, I don't even need a full drop. Ah, that's why it's clogged up. Okay, I'll have to deal with that in just a second here. But there we go, just like that. No more white dot. And now I need to scrape out that glob of dry contrast paint in the lid there. Ah, get out of there. Disgusting. Bleh. There we go. But yeah, no. I think one of my favorite things about mini painting is that there's so many ways of approaching things, not just in the colors that you use, but the techniques that you use, and getting to see other people paint the same model, even when it's in a different way, if it's in a different medium. It's so like I'm a huge fan of like that kind of stuff. I absolutely love it. Like, you know, maybe I used just regular acrylics and someone else used contrast paints. Getting to watch that process is cool. Recently, I've been playing around with these inks. And actually, Lemons, we were talking about inks earlier. I'm probably going to be finishing this today. It might not even take me 2 hours. Maybe it will take me 2 hours. I've already been on camera for an hour. But if you want, I can give you a little quick demo on this. Or tomorrow, I'm going to be starting this Triceratops, and I'm going to be painting this with inks. So if you want, you know, just keep that in mind. If you want to join in tomorrow, that's how I'm going to be handling that. I'm more of a keep painting till it turns out. I need to get better at explaining why and what I'm doing. So you'll learn. Well, thank you very much. Oh, you watched a ton of videos. They're so cool, right? I love them a lot. Spiky Kina, hi. I'm mostly going to lurk, but the gorilla looks cool. Well, hey, Spiky Kina, thank you for joining in. You know, if lurking's okay, everyone's welcome. So thank you for joining and saying hello. I like hellos. And you know, even if you're just listening to the background and I'm just background noise, I hope you enjoy the music. I tried to pick something chill. Yeah, you'll tune in tomorrow. Glad to hear it. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to do our first little thin highlights here on the callus parts of the gorilla hands. So, as we know, gorillas will use the backs of their hands very often for, you know, kind of like as a frontward hybrid feet, if you would, right? For those who've watched Tarzan, you know what I'm talking about, like the Disney animated cartoon. So we're just going to go over that, and all those little creases, we're going to try and keep those as dark as we can. And, you know, if we miss some, that's okay. But calluses have cracks in them, they have dark recesses, so we're going to try and preserve some of that. And I'm going to, yeah, just for reference. It looks like this is a little too bright. So, that's fine. We will not worry too much, but we will try to find a better paint for that. I thought this was going to be the one. Let's see here. What else do I have? Yeah, I've got a new paint here. Maybe if I try this out, I might have to mix it with something. What color would I call that? It's kind of like a dark brown with a... not a gray, it's... let's see here. It's almost purplish. So, you know what? Here we go. Okay. I'm going to try and get that color. I think they knuckle walk because they can't fully open their hands. Oh, interesting. I was not aware of that detail. So one of the colors I just picked up recently is dark flesh tone from Game Color. So I'm going to see how well that works. I did not know that detail. That makes sense though, because they don't have overly long fingers. Their palm, in comparison to their palm is much larger. So that's an interesting factoid. Thank you for sharing that, Spiky Bits. All right, so if I... that's a little bit better. Let's see here. It's all about your layering. At least that's how I do it. Is that... no, it's not quite what I'm looking for. Going to capture that color. Well, I have highlights I can go on top of with it, so we'll give this a shot. Yeah, it's all about experimentation and learning. So if it's not perfect, then that's okay. Life will go on. No problem. I'm a mini encyclopedia on animal facts. I love animal facts. If you have any that you want to share, I will listen all day. I love animal facts. And Spakey Kina, if you want, let me know. My cat is right beside me. At any time on request, I can give a couple seconds of a cat camera. Bit of a kitty cam. Alright, so looking at this over here, gonna go back to my references. What is the second highlight I have on there? So on the highest points, it's kind of comparable to... it's kind of comparable to, what's that, Rakarth Flesh? Yeah. So, I don't use a whole lot of Citadel colors, but Rakarth Flesh is one that I do have, and that's kind of similar to that highlight that I'm looking at. But first, we will continue on with the other highlights there. So just check the consistency for the layering. Hopefully the highlights are gonna make this all work out. I may not be confident right now, but I'm very well aware that before something looks good, it's usually going to look like butts first. So I'm just going to keep pushing forward. I can always paint over it. I've already painted over this once. That's like what I'm doing right now. So. And my apologies for the sniffles. I am trying to keep it to a minimum. All right, so got that going there. This hand's looking much nicer. It's very, very reddish brown on camera right now, but as we go forward, that's going to be brought down in intensity. So, put a little bit of Rakarth flesh on camera. And actually, while I'm talking about it, so I rebottle my Citadel paints at anything that's a top loader, like a P3, but sometimes your replacement bottles are going to crack. Overexposure. There we go. So you can kind of see there's that crack there. What I do for that is I just take some Eileen's tacky glue or P3, Elmer's, whatever you have on hand really is going to work. I just use tacky glue or Eileen's tacky glue because it dries really fast. And so you just put a little dollop on your finger and you just go over it and you just kind of jam it in there and it'll seal it up. From my understanding, this happens due to the temperature changes in your room. So if you're like me and your paints are next to a window because you want to use some natural light, in the summer this room gets really hot and then it gets really cold, so that sometimes happens. So if anyone else experiences that, that's a super easy way of dealing with it, provided you notice it fast enough. All right, cool. So moving forward, oh, that was too watery. Let's try that again. It's not bad. If anyone's wondering why my thumb looks like it's a painter's coat, it's because I use it to test the transparency of my paints. There we go. All right, so you can see there. How that looks. So we're going to just go over some of this. I'm gonna go just lightly. Oh, that is already too much. Nope. Need to wipe off more paint. Okay. So we're not looking for... No, that is way too bright. Just a little bit. There we go. Just a little bit. Let's put that on the areas that are going to be the most worn. So areas with high movement, the knuckles. We're also going to focus on parts that have a bit more sun exposure, so the high points. And, you know, if this hand looks a bit like butts, that's okay. We'll just have to make sure that this one's more attention grabbing. Just the faintest of strokes. Not looking for this to be super attention grabbing. Part of this is just to lower the intensity of the reddish brown. Part of it is to give highlights on corner pieces. Oh, that one's too much. Bit of a boop. And so that is looking a bit better, just a little bit. So that's okay. So now we've done the callus part there. Now we're going to go over the color palettes of the rest of the hand, which is because apparently the hands have two color palettes, which I think is really cool. Just make sure, nope, that only shows you some of it. Alright, what am I going to have to do here? It's going to shrink this down and increase that way. There we go. So yeah, so that's how that looks. So we've done that. Oh, I still need one more highlight level, but I will do that one last, likewise with the other one. So we've started off with the really dark color on the inside. You know, there is still a little bit more that needs to be done there. Parts of my palette are dry from air exposure. That's okay, it's over the matter of a couple of days. It's bound to happen. So we're gonna just rehydrate some of the top there. And we're gonna go to where I've got this bit. Is that the bit I'm looking for? No, this is. I'm just gonna expose it to a little bit more dark colors. There we go. Come on, where's the dark bits that I'm looking for? There we go. Nope, I've screwed it up. That's okay. Something like my palette. A little bit of it's preserved. There we go. So we're gonna go here. Perfect. So we're just gonna go into the creases here. And we're just gonna darken that up a little bit. So we just want to really improve the contrast, right? I want to do it in subtle areas in some parts and then louder areas in others. I love your attention to detail. Oh, I try. Thank you, Spiky Kina. That's turning out pretty well. It's, I mean, it's not bad so far. I don't dislike it. There we go. Yeah. I mean, like, I want to improve as a mini painter, right? So, like, some days I'm pretty lazy and I just want to get it done. I am a strong believer in finished is more important than perfect, but you know, if we can get close to perfect, that's fun. I like that. And you may hear a common thing between people who paint minis, and you'll hear the term contrast a lot, or highlights. I am notorious for not being bold enough with my highlights, so I am really trying to, you know, take learning steps, go out of my comfort zone, and you know, when I do, it usually works out pretty nicely, and like, man, that's fun. Like, getting to be able to look at your own work and be like, yeah, I can see my improvement. You know, and so if I can do that, other people can do it. So if I can do it on a camera, I can show people that they can get better. That they, you know, that this hobby of painting miniatures isn't so, oh my goodness, I love how that shadow's turning out. It's not so daunting, because some of my friends that I try to convince, like, you know, give it a try, you might have some fun. I always hear the same things. Oh, I don't have the hand coordination for it. Oh, I don't have the confidence for it. Or that looks really tough. It's not too tough. The muscles, like keeping a steady hand, you build that over time. I didn't start out like this. I started out, I made sure to keep a mini on hand. Here we go. This is how I started out. Look at this. Right? You know, so like if I do that, you can see that like the paint is blotchy. It's not like a full coat. I just like went gooped white paint over the teeth, you know. So we get to see that growth, you know. So you take some time, you watch a couple tutorials here and there. You can improve. Anyone can improve. It's wonderful. But yeah, no, I love this hobby. This hobby is relaxing, especially if you go out of your way to make a relaxing playlist, you know. But when I'm doing this, I'm not paying attention to the, you know, the things that are stressing me out. So last night, you know, obviously there's a lot of tension and worry about the current world state, especially with the election going on in the States, and regardless of if we live there or not, I do not. What happens there has an impact on others, which is really unfortunate, because sometimes that impact is a negative way. So I painted. I finished my shift and I painted because I didn't want to think about it anymore. So, you know, I'm in absolute agreement. Dyslexic Lemons, it is a great calming hobby. You know, if you just give it a little bit of your patience, it'll you'll get a return on investment. So what I'm doing here is I've put on a little bit of paint, and it's still wet, and I'm just gonna try pulling it away to get a little bit of a subtle effect, make it not so blurry and lined. And it didn't quite work out, but that's okay. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit more paint, try it on our skin here. We're gonna pull out. No. So if you find that your brush is too wet and it is, you know, if there's too much water, so sometimes what happens is you will have, you know, if I go in here and I go, okay, cool, so I'm ready, and you find that there we go, you know, the paint isn't working the way that you want because you've got too much water in your brush. What you can just do is you can just go on while you still have your paint there, and you just go on and you touch a paper towel until the water drop stops growing, and there you have some, you know, paint that you can use still. So that's what I'm experiencing right this second. So I need to get some paint, make sure it's not too wet, not too strong, wipe a little excess off my brush, make sure I haven't picked up too much water. I did. All right, and now we're gonna do a test. We're just gonna pull out so we can get more of a gradient. Finding the balance between watering your paints is a hard thing to learn. Yep. Oh no, I am in full agreement there. And so, interesting thing, I don't technically water down my paints, but I do use a wet palette. And I use a wet palette because it will thin my paints for me for the majority of the part. So I don't get that globbiness, because what ends up happening is with the interaction of the paint and the water of the wet palette, the outside of the paint that I drop in is going to be the thinnest. So that's how I handle that. And then if I need something thicker, I go closer to the center. Wet palette is my best friend. Yeah, no, I'm in full agreement with that. It's just so when Redgrass Games had their Kickstarter for the Everlasting Palette, I was blown away. This was my first interaction with a wet palette, so I was like, oh my god, I need that. And I did. I don't regret the purchase. What I regret is that I bought the really big blue one. I didn't buy the small orange one. I didn't need the big blue one, but I bought the big blue one. And so I have a wet palette that takes up so much space on my desk, and it wasn't as necessary in the size that I had assumed, which is a bummer. That happens. No, I didn't do that one. Whoopsies. I still water Citadel paints. Oh yeah, Citadel paints are really thick. Yeah, I mean, it all depends on what paint brand that you were using. That is a truth. I'm in full agreement with that. Actually, I mean, in fairness, actually, Steel Legion Drab and Rakarth Flesh, I don't so much water them down as I just turn the puddle into I increase the surface area of it so that it thins it down more naturally. So I suppose that I technically don't water it down, but I sort of do at the same time, if that makes any sense. But I mean, it all depends on like what your comfort level is, right? Like what you can do at certain consistencies might not be how someone else is used to painting or how someone else does paint. So I'm a little bit of a sneaker, or not sneaker, a little bit of a brat. And when people say like always water down your paints, I go, I'm that person that goes, well, that depends. There's what paints are you using, what is this, because I don't want someone to necessarily like buy a bottle of P3 paints, which are super thin, right? They're high pigment, but they're super watery paints as it is. They have a lot of paint thinner in them already, and so I don't want someone to end up using P3s and then end up watering them down and losing total control of their paint, right? I put a little airbrush thinner in some of my thicker ones. Yeah, no, that's a great solution. Is you can put airbrush thinner or just paint thinner. I have a Vallejo thinner that I use, as well as airbrush thinner, and yeah, no, that totally works. All right, so I am super liking how this hand is turning out. this, I might not even... I don't know if I want to... This hand looks a little weird. This thumb looks a little bit odd, but I don't know if I want to... Like, how far I want to push this. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. I am someone who's hesitant to do really strong highlights a lot of the time. Every time I do really strong highlights, I am out of my comfort zone. Once I finish, I'm always thankful for when I did what I did do. Like, the highlights on this gorilla's head, I was using like an off-white for this. It's not Space Wolf. It's Wolf Gray from Vallejo Game Color, and it looks so nice on this. But you know, I'm always so hesitant for it. Like, I don't want to ruin things. But yeah, no, I'm liking how that goes. I need to do the feet. That's what I need to do. Alright. So, there we go. So we're just going to go in. But yeah, actually I was going to ask you, Lemons, for your painting camera, what's your setup like? Because I just purchased this armature on my desk for maybe $30 or something off Amazon, so that I can get like real up and personal with my minis. But before I was doing that, like, I was just using like a Logitech webcam, and I just like had it sitting on a candle holder facing my miniatures. So that beforehand, like, you may have noticed that there's a change in angle. That's how that ended up happening. But you know, I was just curious, like, what's your setup like, bud? Black leather is hard because the highlights are intimidating. Oh my god, yeah, black leather. Because that's kind of one of the things. I've been watching a couple of tutorials because something that I want to feel comfortable doing, but just off of like the approach, because light reflectivity is different, is I'm always really worried about trying to paint people with darker skin tones, because it's a different process because of how light reflects off dark colors. And actually painting this gorilla, just because their skin is a darker skin tone, and it has been a little helpful because looking at the references and watching some tutorials of how to paint darker skin tones. So it's a bit of color theory, right? So darker colors absorb more light, whereas lighter colors will reflect it. So because of that, what ends up happening is, so in this photo of this gorilla that I've been using, if you look at the color of the sky and you look at the highest points of reflection of their skin, you end up seeing that they aren't just reflecting high light, they're actually reflecting the color of their surroundings. You know what? Okay, that $40 camera, I'm possibly using the exact same camera that you're using there, Lemons. This is just a C920 Logitech. But what I've been doing is I have on Mac at least, I'm using just this $10, $20 software called Webcam Settings, and I'm just modifying the light exposure, the concentration, the focus manually to be able to get this more crispness. So just so you know, I'm using a dirt cheap camera as well. But yeah, no. In terms of darker colors and the reflectivity, there was a great like 1 or more hour video I was watching about how to do a better job of painting darker skin tones. So I don't remember how I got onto. Oh, you were talking about black leather. Black leather, black anything, dark fur colors. That principle of absorbing light and more crisply reflecting the color of the surroundings is going to actually be applicable. So when you're doing your black leather, keep that in mind. I'm still worried about screwing up if I was to, paint people with darker skin tones, but I think that that's something I need to get over with and try practicing, because if I just avoid it, I'm never going to do it, which is not okay. It's weird when people have like just all of their minis are white. I find that weird. So my first attempt actually was using the what do you call the Citadel contrast paints. They had 3 of them for dark skin tones that work really, really nicely. I had one sitting up here. It's unfinished, but it does a decent enough job, just like compared to what I myself am able to accomplish. So it's a nice accurate skin tone for the most part, but I just need to get better at the application of it. You should send me the link to what you use. I think my camera is too dark and doesn't catch enough colors. Yeah, I use... I'll send you on Discord. No, force quit that. That's not what I'm trying to use. Amazon.ca Logitech C920. There we go. Oh, sorry, I'm not using a $40 camera. I thought it cost a bit less than this. There we go. So this is what I'm using. Who am I kidding? I don't need to put it in Discord. I have a chat room right here. So if anyone wants to know what I'm using. Let's see. Okay, before I start doing anything else, I'm going to try covering up this base. So I recently just got this new Dark Earth Vallejo earth texture because it's legions cheaper than like buying like Sturkland mud, and can work just as well. So I'm going to look at this and consider, do I want to use this the way that it is, or do I want to try something different? Well, I think before I figure that out, I need to first pull out the actual proper base. So that's the base for that, and I'm going to try and do a good job on basing this. I've not based on camera, so in terms of proper basing. Alright, so just with some Gorilla Glue, and I do see the irony in using Gorilla Glue on this mini. So, got anything fun coming up in your D&D campaign there, Lemons? Full disclosure, this video will be recorded and available for the next 14 days. I can't imagine your players watch my stream. But, you know, just to keep in mind. Alright, and so to make sure that things cling onto this, I'm going to just throw some primer on it. But before I do that, I will score it just so that there's a bit better surface area. So what I'll do here, so I'm just gonna score it because I have found that these Wizkids platforms do not have like any ability of holding on to things. Like if you paint onto it, it'll come off really fine. I haven't had any issue with my super glue yet, but that's super glue, and this is, I plan on using paint on this, so I want to give it something to hold on to. My players don't watch my own stream. I haven't used texture paste for basing. That's something else I want to try. I love these texture pastes. Okay, so the Vallejo texture paste, that is what I did with this sand. This sand is the Vallejo texture paste, and this water that's coming in is a combination of the Vallejo. I've just found out recently that double L makes a Y. So I've got Vallejo water texture, which is still water, and I thought I could get away with Liquitex, what do you call it, matte gel, but it seems that the matte gel dries just a little bit murky, just a little bit, so I can't make the water quite as ripply as I want to, but it's looking decent. But yeah, their texture pastes are incredible. I am a fan of Vallejo in so many different levels. So let's open this up. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. That's pretty. It's a little bit gritty, but not too gritty. That's okay. The texture is strong enough that what I can do is I can take one of those basing rods, one of these, the Citadel texture rod. And what I'm just going to do here is I'm just going to, oh man, talk about a bottle full of air. That's okay. I'm going to go in here and we're just going to scoop that. Go in, we're going to scoopy scoop. I'm not going to be too shy about it. I'm going to use a fair bit because the whole reason we buy this is because it is cheaper than Citadel. And so I'm going to go like that. I'm going to pat it around. Citadel is... I like some of their stuff, but their price points, their business practices, I am not a huge Citadel fan, so I try to use other brands when I can. Plus they're a little bit cult-like. But my god, the models, as good as they look, they're so overpriced. Just because you're paying for that conversion of currency, right? Like I spent $14 on this ape. I spent $14 on it, and I know that if this model came from Games Workshop, I would have had to pay 50 to 100 bucks. So I avoid at all costs Citadel where I can. Oh. Got a text from the missus, who is 2 rooms away. Oh goodness, I will check that out. That looks hilarious. She just sent me a photo of a dog dressed up as Chucky. We are about to have a big mech arena battle to finish out the planet. Oh, that's right, because you guys have a sci-fi game. My players have spent the last 3 games building it and sabotaging other mechs and stealing upgrades. I love that. I want to talk about something that I want to do, but Kairos in the chat is one of my players, so I'm not going to talk about that. But it involves mechs and dragons. That is all I will say. So we are going to texture this up here where we can. I'm just gonna play with it here. Getting a lot of almost water-like effects on here. It's not quite how I'm wanting that to turn out. So we'll just do that. It's possible I might need to let it semi-dry before I go too much further in it. Ha! Mechs and dragons. We can talk. Yes, yes. I will gladly do that. I will gladly do that. It's not about the current campaign, but like, it's an idea that I'm excited about enough that I want to go through with it someday. So I want that to be a bit of a surprise when I do. So we've got that there. It's looking okay. I'm probably gonna have to let it dry out a little bit. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to use some dark stone from Army Painter, and I'm going to just go over this whole base area, and I'm going to see how I like that texture that they already have there, because they've already got something there, right? So I may as well try to use it before I muddle it up or anything. So I'm just going to take a big old thing here. But yeah, he's not chatting right now, but he's playing Pokemon. So, but I know he's listening. I know you're listening, Keith. I know it. Gotta stay hydrated. Yes, there you are. There he is. There he is. So, I'm just gonna go here. I'm just gonna do some thin coats. We're gonna go darker than we need to intentionally, because we want to do some highlights. We're gonna do a lot of foliage on this. I have a whole bunch of static grass tufts that I want to use. I really like using larger grass tufts on big models like this, so I'm gonna have a lot of fun basing this, hopefully. Gotta go. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for the stream. Hey, thank you for joining, Spiky Kina. You have yourself an excellent rest of the day, okay? Thank you so much for joining. And don't worry, lurking is okay. Everyone's welcome here. I just want to have a nice chill place for people to hang out. My players don't know yet.
But at the end of the mechs battles, the main bad guy will race. Main bad guy race will be invading the planet, forcing them to finish their stuff on the planet as fast as they can. Oh, okay, cool. So it's almost like a not quite a Metroid ending with a self-destruct and everything, but it's a race against time. So it's kind of that. You know, the alien armada is attacking, and you know, they're glassing the planet. So now we have to get off as soon as possible. I dig that. I dig that. That's cool. That can really give some tension. I don't think I finished the video, but I was watching a video from Matt Colville that this isn't really on subject, but he was talking about utilizing you know, how to make interactions interesting, and he used what is a great metaphor or, you know, name for it. But he said, like, you know, if there has to be a discussion and you're not interested in running it, there needs to be a gun on the table. And I was just like, whoa, where are you going with this? And he's like, I'm not saying there actually has to be a gun, but imagine, you know, you're role-playing a conversation and it's just, you're doing it because you have to, not because it's interesting. You know, imagine there's that conversation and someone just pulls a gun out and puts it on the table. Everyone who's in that room is going to go, are they going to shoot me? What's happening? Why did he pull a gun out? Like, there's that immediate tension, right? So making it so that it doesn't end off on a soft point where the players are doing an activity like that, like creating that tension artificially or not, that's fantastic. You know, RPGs are fun because there's that tension. You know, obviously you need to have a couple of low points, because if it's non-stop adrenaline, you know, people get worn out. But that's fantastic. I love the idea of that. You know, I worry my group of 4 will try to take on the army. Potential TPK. Yeah. I usually try to make things pretty clear by giving an example to the players, like demonstrating that if this is a hopeless situation, you know, you need to make it very clear. Like, let's say there is an NPC or someone that the party has that's really powerful. For example, using Lord of the Rings as an example here, if the mines of not mines of Mordor, but those dwarven mines or ruins were a, you know, RPG session, they have their like level 20 wizard who's with them, and then just the Balrog shows up, right? And the Balrog is 1v1ing the wizard, and the wizard is losing. You know, the party, you know, of level 10 players now have this realization: we can't fight this. Like, it's a very clear like show of strength that, like, so in a sci-fi situation, maybe there's their primary ship, and at the end of this, during the thing that's happening on, you know, the ship gets blown up, and now they need to find another way of leaving the planet. Like, you know, just that, like, yeah, this is bad. You guys are in a bad situation, and you need to think on your feet right now. You know, that's one way of going about it. You know, or if before they fight the big bad guy, you know, this thing, you know, this giant laser beam just disintegrates them in front of him in one hit. And maybe just before that he got disintegrated, you know, he somehow healed himself to full health, right? And then he just gets one shot from one of these laser beams. Now your party knows well, we were struggling to fight him and he just got disintegrated. We need to get out of here now. You know, you could do things like that. That's my way of thinking. If you ever worry about TPKing a party of, you know, players who don't necessarily read the room very well, know when they're in danger. I have had players like that a few times. I had to do a city siege where the town was being invaded by a goblin army that was as far as the horizon could see, right? And so by doing that, like using descriptions like that, like it doesn't matter if you're level 20, enough of those goblins are going to get hit or critical hits, especially since they're flanking you guys. You know, you will die if you stay here. Stuff like that. They tried picking a fight that they should not have picked, and I had to summon reinforcements to give them a helping hand because a couple of them got knocked to 0 HP. You can always do stuff like that, right? Like, okay, you guys choose to fight, and you know, two of your, like, half your party has been knocked unconscious. You know, before the killing blow gets dealt, you know, you guys see supporting fire basically chase off the enemy, and you guys now need to get out. You know, stuff like that. Yeah. Well, okay. I wouldn't say dual wield characters. So what I'm doing with you guys is not typical in a D&D game. Because this was my first campaign, I let the party have character trees because I anticipated there were going to be character deaths. And I had my first character death in the last session of that campaign, which was pre-pandemic and before my wedding, so quite a while ago. But you know, you guys picked a fight that you were losing, and we're all about to have a TPK in. You know, so I took their other parties that are the other party that's in reserve, and I had them come in and assist. You know, so you can do stuff like that. If my party was in a Lord of the Rings situation, their ultimate plan would be fight straight through Mordor, climbing the Great Eye, and throw a bucket of water on it. That's great. I love that, Lemons. That sounds like a redonk party. I like redonk parties. It's good to have a little bit of redonk. Alright, I'm just going to throw a bit of a thicker glob and just spread that out. So I had another thought. So in my first painting session of the giant ape, which I am now apparently not actually showing you guys what I'm doing, I was talking about using Skull Island basically as a campaign idea. But so I play Magic the Gathering, and another idea I had was, so there is this giant ape magic card in a set called Ikoria. They entertain, that's for sure. Quality of realistic art RP may vary. No, that's true. That's true. I mean, it doesn't need to be art. You know, realistic RP to be fun. You can have a beer and pretzels game. It all depends on what your party wants out of your adventures. That's really what's going on. In the end of the day, it's the same as every campaign. You know, the DM can plan for whatever they want, but if that's not the fun that the party is there to have, that's not the game that's going to be had. But yeah, there's a magic card. Keith, what's his name? It's like Cogdor, Korolog. It's K something. When he comes in, he fights something, and he can smash. What is it? Here, one sec. Ugh. Be right back. I'm just gonna go wash my nose or wash my hands. In the meantime, the ape guy. Yeah, the ape guy. That's the name I'm trying to figure out. Yes, I did. I got a few of the Godzilla cards in packs, and then I special ordered the remaining Godzilla cards. It's like Kogla, I think, is his name, Keith. But yeah. Anyways, the idea that you can have a giant ape that is not the savior of a village, but it's just one single person's party companion. I got 3. I wanted the Mechagodzilla really badly. I got the Mechagodzilla out of my buy a box promo because I bought the collector's booster box set. And I got the Mothra's cocoon, Japanese foils. So that was really fun. Kolga, thank you. Yes, Kolga. So in terms of D&D adventure ideas, featuring a giant ape, you could have something like Kogla, where the party meets this person, and initially, it looks like the person's being carried by a giant gorilla, and maybe they try to help them, only to find out that's that person's animal companion. Maybe it's like a Beastmaster Ranger, or just someone who's bonded with them. Speaking of which, Lemons, if you're ever interested, on my Twitter, I actually have a rule set that I designed for having adventures in Ikoria. If you're ever interested in that, and I did not already mention that to you. We buy a box and do drafts for our date nights. That's wonderful. I love that. That's beautiful. You have a good marriage. I actually just recently bought a box of the Commander Legends set, and I'm so excited for getting that whenever it comes out. I did not anticipate Mana Drain to get reprinted in this set, which is cool, because if I get that, then I'll have 2 Mana Drains, which I didn't need. But no, I'm honestly more interested in the Kobold legendary, Rognok, son of Rogharg, or whatever. It's just oh my god, I love this. So ridiculous. especially if in the Forgotten Realms Magic set they release more kobolds, which I highly anticipate that they're going to do. Make kobolds viable. Make a kobold tribal deck. So stupid, I love it so much. But yeah, no. That was an idea that I had for another D&D use of a giant ape. You know, just one of those like, we are so sorry, we misunderstood, and I'm so sorry that we attacked your ape. In fairness, your ape nearly crushed all of us. I'm a casual MTG player, but I enjoy it for sure. It's a fun game. The community is questionable. I will be upfront about that. I don't play at pre-releases or drafts anymore. I only play with my select group of friends. Too many just uncomfortable encounters I've had playing with people at shops that I just like, no thanks. I think I am done with this. Oh, you okay there, buddy? Itching your chin? I'm like a weird casual hybrid of competitive. I like casual. I play casually. I dislike the competitive ecosystem. But that being said, I really like winning, and I try very hard to win, and I buy cards to help me win better. I don't know what to say. But at the same time, when there's like insta-win combos, I'm not really a big fan of that. I'm a fan of combos that are janky and weird or like powerful, but like things like World Gorger Dragon and Animate Dead for infinite mana. I'm like, oh man, this is not fun. Lots of uncomfortable encounters, especially with my wife. That's the only person I try. Yeah, nope, absolutely. One of my close friends. It's very clear that a lot of the guys at like Magic events are targeting her, so as to say the least. Not to say that there aren't cool people. She's met cool people. She's made friends with cool people from drafts and stuff. But yeah, man, it's not ideal. So I just I invite my friends over. So Keith, for every time I have said no thanks, that's why. I don't like the people at stores most of the time. But you found cool people at stores, and that makes me happy. But like, you remember that one time I went with you, and like, I told a person to his face that I hope that every card drops in price because Magic is not an investment. Magic is a game. And that if he wants to invest, he should buy stocks. Like, jeez. Because that's exactly what it is. Magic is a game. It is. The cards should not necessarily be as expensive as they get. And you know what? I understand that's just supply and demand. That's okay. That's a part of it. But like, don't invest in Magic cards. Yeah, no, because it's stupid. It's dumb. Like, yeah, sure, buy a Black Lotus, whatever. It's never going to be printed again. That's fine. But you know, like the idea that like fetch lands are an investment. No, man, fetch lands get reprinted and stuff. And even then, like, who are you going to resell to? It's just going to be other collectors and people like yourself. Like, the casual people are going to buy the reprints that are cheaper. Like Birds of Paradise. No one's going to buy Alpha Birds of Paradise if they want to play. They're going to buy like a 10th edition Birds of Paradise for like $5 to $10. Oh, yeah, no, he did not appreciate me telling him that. But he also didn't really have a counter to it. Like, Um, he's like, no, why? It's going to ruin the game. I'm like, no, it's not. It's going to make it so that everyone can buy the cards that they want to buy. Like, it's not going to ruin the game. Like, card rarity is what card rarity is, and in the end of the day, like, they print their cards on demand for like 3 years. It's not like it's actually a limited stock. Like, when a set comes out, if you go and you buy every single box on the market, what happens is they just print more boxes. You're not actually like increasing the value of your freaking cards. I don't know. I buy stocks. Like, you want something that's actually going to invest you and make you money, you buy stocks. You buy, insurance plans. You buy life insurance. Like, there's things out there specifically geared to making you money. When you're buying a collectible that's old and stuff, like, and it ends up increasing in value and you resell it, you're more likely to lose money than, like, if you go and buy them post release. Like, they go up in value unexpectedly. Like, how you make money is, I bought Sword of War and Peace for $1 when it was at like its lowest point. I found it in $1 rare box. I bought one. A couple months later, it was $50, so I sold it, and I got myself an Elish Norn. And then I opened up some more packs, and I got a Sword of War and Peace again. 3-4 months later, it was $20, so I bought another one. Like, I wasn't doing this because I was trying to make money or flip off of it. It was just like, I really like this card. I also really like Elish Norn. I invest property. Property is a perfect example. That is something that is worth investing in. That is something that has a significant value. Even if the property never goes up in price, later on in the years, you can resell it to get that money back. So that if something happens, like, you still own property. Property is valuable. Not a piece of paper. Yeah, it's not exactly. Property is not a money drain. But, like, I don't know. I could go on. This is a mini painting. I am painting a monkey. I'm painting a monkey, and I will calm down. Hello, monkey. I like you. I'm gonna get myself worked up if I keep talking about it. But yeah, no, he didn't like it when I said that. I also, yeah, it's a game. That's all. So I've got just a couple white spots on the base here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to just color those up. Let's see here. So okay, last thing I'm going to say on it. So scalping for like concert tickets, not really an okay thing to do. Pretty taboo. Better investment of money than buying and reselling match cards. All right, so, but again, not really an okay thing to do. Don't scalp. Don't be a scalper. Let's see here. So someone else talk. Tell me what's exciting. I'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Welcome to Painting While Receiving Economic Investing Advice with your host, Chris, and your co-host, Little King Kong. Oh, god, it's too funny. It's too true. It shouldn't be true, but it is. Alright, let's see here. Let's go to that gray wash. Little King Kong. He really looks like a King Kong. I'm so happy with how this mini turned out. Specifically, okay, now that I've got like a better camera setup here, I'm so happy with the eyes. Like, it's hard to point out, but like, I'm so happy with it. Like, you can actually see that they're brown, like even from a distance. Like, it works out so well. Yeah. Let's see here. I feel like I can still see white through the base. Keith, have you been reading any comic books online right now? I know that you usually keep up with Flash. Does DC have a service kind of like Marvel does, where you can, on a tablet or your phone, like go through, like pay a subscription and just read all of their old comics? Let's talk about peanut butter. Quality of chunky versus smooth. Oh man, okay, so I live in a household where smooth is the only option, but I'm a chunky peanut butter person. I like that crunch and that texture. I love that. I live for it. But I do understand and appreciate the significance of smooth peanut butter, because smooth peanut butter works better as an ingredient, whereas chunky is only really best for peanut butter sandwiches. Not really. I think they do. Kindle Premium has old comics for free to read whenever. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know about that. What about you, Keith? Chunky or smooth peanut butter? You two bananas. Or not bananas. Lemons. Who was bananas? Someone's joined before was bananas. I have a fruity Twitch stream follower thing. Which I'm totally cool for. Fruit is delicious. Let's see here. That's still really dark. I like chunky. Yep. But I like smooth when I use it for waffles. Yeah, waffles. I wouldn't use chunky. I would use smooth peanut butter. I'm glad to hear that you are also a peanut butter waffle person. Pancakes sounds weird, though. I'm going to judge you a little bit on peanut butter on pancakes. Just a little bit, though. People say that chunky tears your bread. Chunky peanut butter does not tear your bread. What are they doing with it? But I think it's because of bad bread quality. I agree with you. Like the crunch. Yeah, no. What are they, like, are they refrigerating their chunky peanut butter? Your chunky peanut butter should still apply smoothly, but have crunch to it. I'm curious on what crunchy peanut butter they're using. And how much force are they using when they apply their peanut butter? Because all the crunchy peanut butters I have, like, it's still somewhat oily because of the peanut oil. And so it's the peanut chunks just flow and then just kind of rest where they land. What about your households there, Lemons? Does everyone in the household like crunchy? Or are you like me, where you have to abide by what the rest of the popular demand is? Crunchy is best. Crunchy is best. All right, favorite jams. I'm not a huge strawberry person, but I do really like strawberry jam. But for my choice of jam when all the options are available, huckleberry jam. Huckleberry jam. Yeah. Huckleberry jam or Saskatoon berry is where it's at. But those are harder to find in the grocery store. Man, I haven't had Saskatoon berries in forever. I think you can buy Saskatoon berry jam at Donald's, Keith. It's a battle in the home. We have to get kinds of. We have to get two kinds, or contention will be had. I like that. I don't like that there's contention, but I like that there is some level of agreement. Gotta give some toe shadows in there so you can see the different toes. I like raspberry. Raspberry's not bad. Raspberry and strawberry. But I do like my jam to be quality and not cheap jam. That is true. Now, I can't speak much for the quality of jams. In Canada, I haven't really had a bad jam. Usually, I think the closest I've seen to a bad jam was more of like a jelly. So I don't know. What constitutes as a bad jam for you there, Lemons? I can't say I've had a jam before that I really disliked or was disapproving of, except for my own jam, because I made a really bad batch of lime jam. That was a learning experience for me. I found out that the little cells of inside lemons and limes and other citruses are incredibly bitter, and so if you make a citrus jam, what you actually have to do is you have to squeeze the juices. You can't just use the meat of the fruit. Marmalades, yeah, marmalades can be really bitter if you're not careful with them. All right, so we've got that. I'm not opposed to how that's turning out. Let's try to make this a little less wavy. Pull it a little bit. Jelly is bad. Jelly is bad. I can agree with that. I'm not a fan of grape jelly. Jam is good. I don't like too big of chunks in your jam. Interesting. All right. See, I kind of like those chunks. It gives me a bit of a differentiation inside my food. All right. So that's got that there. All right. So that's not too bad. It's almost like how do I describe that? It's almost stone-like. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to pull out the dry brush. So dry brush clean. Yeah, it's nice and clean. And we're going to dry brush this with a oak brown. So I don't need my dark stone anymore, so I'm going to pick that up, put that away. There we go. Are you pulling any foliage? Or putting, yeah, so what I have for foliage is I've got this box of like moss that might be from a dollar store. I can't remember. I've also got some static grass tufts. More static grass tufts. I've got static grass tufts with pieces of wood in them, my favorite. I've got flock, which is good. I've got just some battlefield steppe grass from Army Painter, which is also good. And I've got some Army Painter field grass, which is also good. And then I've got some Gale Force 9 Hobby Scenics, which isn't terrible. It's not the greatest, but it's not bad either. Ugh, my goodness. I drop things and I can't reach them. There we go. I've got Battlefield's Summer Undergrowth, which is not too bad. It's another kind of texture. It's a little weird. I think it looks kind of like seaweed or underwater stuff, but who knows, I might be able to use it. But I'm more likely to use the mossy bits because I think that looks best in my honest opinion. You know, sometimes you just gotta use your dollar store. Lots of options. Yes, yes, yes. I try to go for lots of options. Particularly with my stuff. Why did I put that on the wet palette? I plan on dry brushing. Oh well. I gotta work fast, that's all. How dry is my paper towel? There we go. So we're just gonna go here. And we're gonna give some depth to this. Even though we're covering this whole thing, it's good to just give it that extra color diversity. There's another thing that I had. Oh, I've got tea leaves. Tea leaves are great for foliage because they look like leaves. I love tea leaves. So, but that's usually one of the last things I put on. Because they are the last to reach the ground, right? Because first you're going to have your grass, your moss, that stuff. And then the stuff from the trees, vines, leaves. You know, it's going to come in to play after the fact. You know what? We can look at our gorilla friend here. We can see what kind of foliage they've got there. I'm gonna go hot tubbing. Yeah, no worries, dyslexic lemons. I'm gonna be here for a while. I want to get this gorilla done. I don't think I'm gonna get any other miniature started today, but I'm wanting to finish this up and get her done. Feel like this is a little overexposed again. Close up this whole browser here. Minimize that. Don't need that there. Let's open up the settings. Not the settings, we're going to open up the preferences, this panel. Come on. There we go. Let's reduce some of that there. There we go. Is that better? Or do I need to do it like this? What kind of lighting do I got right now? No, that's not it. That's a little closer. And there we go. That's kind of like it. There we go. That's almost. I don't know anymore. Got that.
Plan was always for me to stay just for the summer. Will you be here again next summer? Certainly hope so. We should keep in touch. Totally. Pinky promise? Pinky promise. Don't worry.
Oh, that's okay. It's just gonna blend it, making it less of a obvious transition there. You know, actually, you know what? I kind of like doing that. Use some of the dry brush there. Sure, why not? Why not? The greatest Pokemon ever. Why not? Cool. So we got that there. So I'm gonna put that back. Gonna put this Grimoire purple back because I don't need that either. Let's see. Do I got that? That liver green. Don't need that there either. So I've got her. Where did I put that dark stone? Is that it right there? I guess that is it right there. Cool. I'm gonna look at, yeah, no, not that one. Yeah, we'll do some leather brown. This time I'm not gonna put it on the wet palette because I'm gonna try and be smart. I can try, doesn't mean I will be, but I can try. And we're gonna just put a drop there. Wipe everything around there. And just give this a bit more highlights. Bit more. Oh, got my thumb paint. Blech. That's not what we want. There we go. I'm loving that. I can be in love with that. That's perfect. All right, so got ourselves some all right highlights for what will poke through the grass. It can be seen through the grass, because that's why we're doing that, right? The grass won't be completely over top of that. So what we're going to do now is going to clean up our dry brush. Want to take care of our stuff. Nice. Gonna close that. Pull out some scissors. And here we go. So I have myself some tacky glue. I don't want to waste our super glue for this. Very first thing, how do I want to go about it? Got some wild looking foliage here. Now, what I like to do sometimes with this is I like to take little bits of it. I like to take my little tool here, and I think I should fix my camera settings again. Let's increase that exposure. There we go. And we're going to just take little bits of this. We're just going to jam it right into the paint there. And that, as that dries, that's going to cement that in. It's going to make that more convincing that it's growing out of it. And later on we can go over with some PVA glue and just water it down. Got some sticks that are nice there. Pull out our other basing materials, put that primer the heck away. Mr. Triceratops, I don't need you here. No, it's an empty can of water that fell. That's all right. All right, cool. Workstation's getting pretty cluttered. If I'm going to think clearly, I've got to put some stuff away. There we go. Out of sight, out of mind. Good stuff. All right. I think what's going on here too is it's quite cloudy outside, so I'm losing a lot of that sunlight that I had before. All right, so I'm going to take these here. We're going to take our tacky glue. And I am not cool enough to have tweezers, so I am going to be doing this with my fingies, which is not the greatest way of doing it, full disclosure. But we're just going to take that, I'll put that right there. And that's the only one that I'm going to do that's going to be a full shape, because we want to get some irregularity, make this nice and more natural looking. Looks like it might rain again. Yeah, probably. Might be raining somewhere else. We're fine here right now, but you know. Might be raining in Burnaby for all we know. Maybe Poco. And these little static bits here, they have a side that's already has a adhesive applied to it, but because we want to be super certain, we're going to just apply a little bit of glue ourselves. Put that one in right there, we'll go with. So I've got that. So that's what I'm going to do with that one there. So we've used 2 of those. If we keep it at odd numbers instead of even in terms of application, it can look just a little bit more natural, so I have heard. So I cannot attest to this directly, but I have heard it from a source that I trust a fair bit. So, you know, gonna put in just more and more and more of this. We're gonna, you know, gonna glippity gloppity that, and gluing these on as is won't always look super fitting because they look a little more real world rather than, you know, saturated colors. So sometimes what we can do is we can just put inks or washes on our plants and our foliage, and it'll make things look just a little bit more like they belong in the scenic that is the space. Come on, stick in there, you. Do it. Do it. Execute Order 66. You know. All right. This is a little too bright, but you know, having a little bit of brightness, not bad. As we can see, it's super bright in our reference photo there. I'm gonna put on some glue here. I'm going to spread that around. We don't want it to be too thick. We want it to be a little distributed. Take a little clump of our grass bits there. We're gonna put that there. I'm gonna tap the bottom directly over top. And cool thing I learned is that you can take a bit of air and push it. Oh, this time it's actually full. Oh, would you look at that? Okay, I'll have to blow on it. And that's going to make it stand up just a little bit better. So hopefully that works out a bit in our favor. Or it'll just blow my static grass everywhere and I'll be sad. You know? Sometimes things work, sometimes they don't. That's okay, that's just how it goes. We can be okay with that. it's not quite realistic to believe that somehow the gorilla is not stepping in the grass. So, you know, despite putting in all that effort to paint his toes, we're going to grass up his feet a bit. You know, just the more we just go over the top with this, the more we just layer in grass everywhere. Because he lives in the jungle. He's got to have some grass. Gotta have some grass. Yeah. It's not like he's King Kong in the city, which I know is exactly where King Kong goes eventually. But this is King Kong before the city. Just gonna keep piling that on. Now that we've done that, put some overgrowth in there. How's Pokemon going, Keith? You having fun with it? Hope so. Oh wow, how long have I been streaming for? 2.5 hours. Would you look at that? Well, I want to finish this gorilla. I want this gorilla to be done. Gotta get it done, son. Oh. Do I have a visitor? Or is that a cat? Can't tell. Might be a cat. Yeah, it's going good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Alright, so before I go and get everything down there, let's grab one of these. I'm gonna pull out one or two of them. Get some big, tall, dead grass going here. This out again. Place that there. Get some more of that. Come on. Oh, I didn't put the lid on. Look at that. Look at that. Messing it up. Whoops. Alright, here we go. One of the things I've realized with these tall tufts is you kind of have to bury them in with the rest of the grasses. Otherwise, it's kind of with how they look with the rest of the scenery, it's a little off. But if you've got like a little, yep, got some glue in there. Yeah, if you make it look like it's just a patch of dead grass along with the rest of the grass, it looks a little bit more convincing. Not realistic, but just convincing. That's all we need. Realistic is, I mean, we're talking about a game of wizards and sorcery and, you know, gorillas the size of your house. We abandoned realistic a long time ago. Go. I like that little, that looks a bit more appropriate. So I think might be good with that. Now we're just gonna go into here. Gonna take more of these. Forget to take the lid off again. This here. Grab something a little bit thinner, make the consistency not so consistent. There we go. So that's looking kind of nice. Kind of liking how this is turning out. What do you think, Keith? And other lurkers, feel free to talk if you want. If not, that's okay. I'm liking how this is going. It's looking a little bit more believable. But we're not done yet. I've got some white tea leaves that I'm going to whip up a concoction of glue. This time I'm not going to use Eileen's tacky glue. Eileen's tacky glue is far too thick. We're actually just going to go with some Elmer's glue, because Elmer's glue is nice and thin. And we're gonna, wonderful, I hope I didn't get that on my shirt. If I did, it's alright. We're going to take this and we're going to just dip our finger in, get some drops of water in there. There we go. Cool. So, got that. Drag my hand over there. Look at emails. Can't really see too well because the overexposure. My apologies. Just know that I'm pouring in glue and not quite half and half. It looks like maybe it's like it's either half and half or 2/3 water, 1/3 glue. And we're just gonna mix that up, try and get it a little bit of an even consistency. Find our dedicated, I don't really love you anymore brush. In my case, this is a Games Workshop starter brush. We're just gonna put in little spots here. You know, works really well for also just doing this on the static grass. Wash off some water there. Put those scissors away. I don't need them anymore. I'm going to take some tea leaves here. I'm going to... Those are huge. Why do I have such huge ones? All right. I'm going to take this stick. Drop that stick there. I'm going to drop some of that glue on there. And that will hopefully keep that anchored as that glue dries. Ideally, not anchored to our brush. Come on, stay in there. Don't be like that. All right. Going to grab a leaf, put it on there. And then just kind of make it so that happens. Find another leaf here. The leaves are really what's going to help tie this together. And, you know, they'll smell nice while you apply them because it's white tea. I feel like that one I probably just need to apply glue directly to it because it's so large. I'm just gonna wipe off some glue there. It's a big dollop. Just go bonk. You're stuck there now. All right. Wipe off a little bit more glue on this here. Oh, it's super brittle. Gotta be careful with that, Chris. And we're gonna that little rock bit there. Ah, that fell perfectly. That fell exactly where I wanted it to go. I'm just gonna push it down, put some white glue there. Put some white glue here. Alright. So we got a nice little glue spot there. Take a little bit more nice crushed tea leaves. Yeah. Drop some there. Use the back of the brush to push them in. Go there. Can't remember where I first saw the suggestion to use tea leaves. Someone made a video sometime back, and they talked about using tea leaves. And it's really just brilliant. In their video, they had recommended using like tea bags, but I have a whole bunch of like bulk tea, so that's what I use. But you know that you can just open up a bag of like Tazo tea or whatever, Sleepy Time tea, Western Family tea, and you can just go to town. There we go. And yeah, I think I'm essentially done with this big old gorilla. I'm pretty happy with this. So while I clean up, I'll just I'm going to see that a little better. You can see his eyes. Didn't really have to worry about the feet too much, but did them anyways. Not the world's happiest hand, but I think that I'm willing to, accept that part of me just kind of wants to call the model finished and start something new. Already been streaming this for close to 3 hours now, but I'm happy with the turnout. So hopefully you guys had a good time. I think I'm just gonna call her quits here. I hope you have a wonderful, enjoyable day. Try not to worry too much about the current state of the world. Obviously, be precautious. Like, don't forget that we are in the state that we are, but try not to be a little overwhelmed by it, because I know I myself am feeling that a bit. But yeah, I hope you have yourselves a wonderful day. Take care, love each other, all the good stuff. And with that, keep it cool. Later.